The Great Donut Disaster. It was, in the bustling town of Munchville, there was a tiny bakery known as Donut Delights. It wasn't just any ordinary bakery, oh no, it was famous for the most amazing, mouth-watering, magical donuts. People from all over would line up every morning to get their hands on these heavenly treats. But this story isn't about how good the donuts were. No, this is the story of how one day, the donuts decided to fight back. It all began one Tuesday morning when Mr. Crumbles, the baker, was hard at work rolling dough and frying donuts, as usual. His assistant, Benny, a boy with curly hair and an even curlier imagination, was busy adding sprinkles to the donuts, though, if we're being honest, more sprinkles ended up on the floor than on the actual donuts. Everything seemed perfectly normal until Mr. Crumbles accidentally knocked over a strange bottle of super mega yeast into the dough. Neither he nor Benny noticed, but the donuts sure did. As soon as the first batch of donuts came out of the oven, something very unusual happened. They started to wiggle. Then, they bounced. And before anyone could shout, "Cinnamon twist," the donuts were hopping out of the bakery by the dozen. Mr. Crumbles?" Benny said, his eyes wide as he watched the donut army make their escape. "The donuts, they're leaving." "Leaving?" Mr. Crumbles asked, still busy with the dough. "Donuts don't leave, Benny. They stay. They wait for people to eat them." But when Mr. Crumbles turned around, he saw what Benny was talking about. A parade of perfectly glazed, sugar-dusted donuts was hopping, bouncing, and rolling right out the front door. Some even waved tiny donut arms. "Stop them!" Mr. Crumbles shouted. Benny, being the fastest kid in town, bolted out the door, chasing the donuts down Main Street. The donuts were surprisingly speedy for fried dough, and they rolled and bounced over sidewalks, past cars, and straight toward Munchville Park. "Get back here!" Benny yelled, waving a spatula in the air like some kind of donut cowboy. Meanwhile, the townspeople were utterly confused. "Are those donuts?" Mrs. Jolly asked, squinting at a group of sprinkles-covered pastries bouncing past her. "Quick! Catch them before they roll into the fountain." Mr. Crumbles puffed, running behind Benny. But the donuts were having none of it. They jumped into the fountain and splashed around like it was their own private donut spa day. A giant jelly donut even did a cannonball. Benny and Mr. Crumbles tried to gather the donuts, but it was no use. Every time they got close, the donuts would jump out of the way, or roll behind a bench. The donuts were just too quick. Just when it seemed like the donut disaster would never end, Benny had an idea. "Wait! What if they're not running away? What if they're trying to have fun?" "Fun?" Mr. Crumbles gasped, completely out of breath. "Donuts don't have fun, Benny." But Benny wasn't so sure. "Maybe they want a party." So, Benny pulled out his secret weapon, a boombox he always carried in his backpack. He turned it on, and the most upbeat, funky music began blasting through the park. The donuts stopped. They bounced. They wiggled. And then, to everyone's amazement, they started dancing. A donut dance party had broken out in Munchville Park. The jelly donuts wiggled, the glazed ones did the twist, and the chocolate-covered ones, well, they just kind of rolled around, but they were having a blast. Soon, the entire town gathered to watch the hilarious scene. People joined in, dancing with the donuts, and Benny was declared the Donut Dance Master of Munchville. As the music played on, something magical happened. Slowly, the donuts started to settle down, one by one. It was as if they had danced their energy away. Eventually, the last sprinkle-covered donut rolled over to Benny and gave a little bounce before stopping completely. "Well," Mr. Crumbles said, picking up the tired donut, "I guess they just needed to have a bit of fun." Benny grinned, looking at the crowd and the exhausted donuts all around. "Yeah, even donuts deserve a party sometimes." And from that day on, every year, Munchville celebrated the Great Donut Dance Party, where people and donuts alike danced the day away. The donuts never ran away again, because who could resist staying for the music and fun? The end.